Time to keep on going. Hopefully this is less of an outright grind than the last clip, but hey, we're exploring more unfamiliar territory at the start. That's gotta be worth something. More jetpack pirates, and it doesn't look like we've got quite as much room to maneuver or as much cover as usual when dealing with these things. At the very least, I don't want to risk falling into the lava while we're dealing with multiple enemies at once. Okay, that didn't take as long as I expected. Still, did quite a bit of damage considering how little time the fight took. But I'm really starting to get the feeling that I'm not all that good at dodging in this game anyway. But then it's not like I was absolutely amazing at dodging enemy attacks in the 2D games either. Okay, so we've got another energy tank nearby. Not too sure how we're supposed to get over there, though. Okay, that's certainly an odd creature, and I'm amazed I can say that with a straight face after we just dealt with a rock monster as a boss. Something that large should not be called a spore. Well, we've certainly never had to deal with a platform that's tried to attack us in some way before. As usual, we get a lot more missiles when we want more health instead. Is there some unseen algorithm in the background that decides when the player gets health or not? Or is there some other reason that it feels like I'm just not as lucky with health pickups in this game as I might have been for the 2D entries? Well, that was absolutely brilliant of me. Just after saying something about how annoying it is to grab health items from fallen enemies, I take a dive into the magma and give us more reason to need more health. Thank you for the health energy, sir. I don't suppose you could convince your friends to give us some more as well, can you? Right. Should have just thought of shooting those stalactites down instead of trying to make one massive jump. At least I didn't get all that hurt making that particular mistake. Part of me wants to say this room looks rather familiar, but then I suppose with the terrain assets they have in this game, it was inevitable that eventually we'd see some rooms that looked all too similar to one another. I literally lost more health there due to losing my footing than because the serpent was shooting fire at us. Did we really need that little jingle for each and every bit of rock from the ceiling that we turned into a platform for us to jump onto? It's not that it's a bad-sounding jingle, just that the way they use it feels about as insulting as the in-game text that tries to tell us what to do at a given moment. I can either ignore it, or just take it to the proverbial chin. but I can't act like it doesn't exist at all or something. And every time I hear that jingle, I feel like I should be in a Legend of Zelda game, not Metroid. And I'm not even entirely 100% sure why that annoys me. Maybe it's the fact that the 3D Legend of Zeldas, the only ones I ever actually tried over the years, did not have anywhere near as much exploration going on as the Metroid games, at least before Breath of the Wild. And I just have this odd thought that they were planning at some point to have a more limited version of exploration in this game. Great. That didn't even feel like it sounded right as I was saying it. Basically, what I mean is that Legend of Zelda is better at world building, but not generally as good at level design compared to Metroid. And whenever I hear that little jingle there, I get worried that this is going to have less of a Metroid feel and more of a Legend of Zelda one. I mean, really. I mean, that just screams Legend of Zelda to me. It's not that I don't like Legend of Zelda, just that I picked up this particular game to do Metroid. And if you pick up a game with a specific genre because you enjoy that genre, it's easy to get a bit worried that there are things that hint they might not have actually stuck with the end result you were actually enjoying. Again, I'm not sure I'm conveying what I'm trying to say here all that well. I seem to be a little rambly at the moment, since we're starting to go through some very familiar ground as we try to figure out what to do next. It probably wasn't an especially important point to make anyway. Let's just keep moving on, and hopefully, before this clip is done, we'll have found the ice beam. We've certainly got plenty of doors that need that in order to open them. Definitely not like there's anything especially obvious that I can see the thermal visor would help us to get through at this point. And certainly nothing that seems to scream that we need the super missile in order to break through it either. Well, you're welcome. We purified that water quite a few clips ago. And I'm even more embarrassed that I didn't manage to see this bit of lore earlier. Well, it can't be easy to fully determine past or future when the continuity starts to get a little more convoluted. Granted, outside of Other M and Federation Force, there isn't anything insanely out of place that has been released for the series, at least as far as I know at this point. Still, all three of the currently released Metroid Prime games are set between Metroids 1 and 2, which means that Samus technically went through an obscene amount of crap before she exterminated the Metroids themselves. The kind of crap that when looking at the series in an actual chronological order, it gets a little tougher to feel intimidated by the SAX and the X in general, considering Phazon and an as-of-yet unintroduced villain who's technically gonna cause Samus a lot more trouble before we're through with Metroid Prime. Especially annoying since I actually kinda like the SAX and the X in general. But I suppose that kind of talk is best saved for Metroid Prime 2. Right now, we have other concerns, like trying to figure out what to do at the moment since nothing feels especially obvious to me right now. I almost forgot those mushrooms exist. Right, can't even do anything in here because we apparently need the grapple, not the spider ball. Still, it was worth checking to be sure. Okay, so there's something spider ball related in here. Ah, so that's how we're supposed to get up there. Thankfully, this does not look like it's going to be a wasted trip to this particular corner of the planet. Still, it doesn't feel worth slowing the footage down at this point. It's literally just a case of drop in, grab one upgrade, then leave. Granted, I've slowed the footage down when it comes to grabbing a single upgrade before. Still, we've been through that room a number of times, and I'm sure we'll go through it plenty more times before we're done with this game. Especially since some of the items we need to unlock the asteroid crater later in the game are in places we've already thoroughly explored, but we're not allowed to actually grab those things just yet. I'm very sure that when it was time to start finishing things up for the recording, I looked up a walkthrough or two online just so I could get through that rather padded out final door faster. But before we get to that point, I still did the same kind of aimless find our way to the next important thing that I enjoyed doing in the 2D games. Part of me thinks there might still be some sections of the Chozo ruins we might be able to explore with what we've got right now. Hell, the short stints of looking at the map after the fact make me feel like I missed at least one major area I could have tried. Right, already grabbed what was in there, so I have no clue why I tried. Have I mentioned that looking at footage of myself going through any of the Metroid games has this tendency to make me wonder just how good my memory really is? Well, with the thermal visor, maybe now we'll be able to grab the artifact that's supposedly waiting at that boss fight arena. Ah! Apparently we need to scan some runes in here before we're allowed to spider our way up from this angle. Right, we've got 2 runes, but where are the other 2? I'm pretty sure they should still be in here, and considering the way rune locks worked in the other rooms, we should be able to get all of them in a single go. And, anyway, just going to ignore the enemies crawling up there, for now at least. Ah, there's another. And that does it! This method of getting back up there has been unlocked. Let's just see how much that's actually worth. Right, these crawling bastards are certainly making this a more annoying trip up. But after all the other Metroid games we've done so far, it's gonna take more than just slightly annoying to stop us. Right. At least we've yet to fall all the way back to the bottom. That's a small mercy. Okay, just what the hell was that? At the very least, it's making a cry we've never heard before. Well, whatever it isn't in the water. Okay. That's something explicitly new in an area I thought we'd cleared. Wait, Chozo Ghost? We're fighting ghosts now? I mean, granted, it's not the first time we've fought ghosts in this series, but still. So, the only way to hurt these things is the power beam, because the wave, plasma, and ice beams won't do anything to it. Interesting to know, not that it matters much at the moment, since the only beam we have is the electrical one. And we most certainly do not have the X-ray scanner for this. We have the thermal scanner and our standard issue eyes. Well, these ghosts can certainly take quite a beating. Thankfully, they haven't been doing any damage to us in return, or at least not much of any damage. But like with a lot of the terrible enemies, I can't help feeling these things deserve a health bar of some kind. I would make a joke about giving ghosts something that is explicitly already dead, something akin to a health bar which tells us when it is going to die. But I've already gone through a few games where we fought against already dead foes who had health bars. Specifically, Ghostbusters for the Xbox 360 and Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the original Xbox. Not especially important, that was just one of the thoughts going through my mind as we keep shooting at these damage sponges. At least there's no chance in hell that these ethereal bastards are going to be anywhere near as durable as the rock monster we had to fight for a majority of the previous clip. There is just no way that each individual ghost is going to be as much of a damage sponge as a creature literally made out of stone. Right, that's one down. And I certainly appreciate that the one gave us some health before passing on to the next life. And that makes two. Just one more to go, and I'm pretty sure that these three bastards took more damage than the plant boss that they share an arena with. Come on, buddy. Let's just finish this quick so I can find a safe point and call it a day. Right. Too much to hope that I'd be able to hit him while he was invisible. Still, at least I tracked approximately where he was. And with that, we've gained the artifact that was in the most memorable, annoying place. Seriously, I should not have had to go all the way back to a place where we already had a significant encounter, where we gained something pretty important, so we could have another significant fight in the same terrain, to gain something completely different that is also significant. Yeah, if we have to deal with that style of backtracking, then they most definitely gave us too many items to have to grab, and that's the end of that discussion. Yeah, am I just spoiled for thinking that these major encounters should all have their own specific rooms instead of sharing a room with other major fights in the exact same game? I mean, it's not like this is something like Samurai Warriors, where they have to use the same map over and over again to fill in the massive amount of game time you could possibly do. Right, back down to the caverns. Next time, we'll find out just how much more I can stumble onto as we keep wandering all over the place.